Thank you for inviting me to this talk today. As you know, that COVID-19 impact started almost 3 months ago to impact the market in a very concentrated way. Rents, of course, is something that is associated with individuals and corporates and individual and corporate direct income. Because that is paid directly to landlords. Therefore, many of the tenants and many of the corporates as well have been facing difficulties during these times. Therefore, there was some sort of many demand on rent reduction, or many also situations where a lot of tenants couldn't meet their obligations towards paying rent. Therefore, some measurements has been taken, and whether landlords or real estate offices, I think the market have been cooperative well, and people understood each other that this is a very difficult time, and we all have to face it and go through it with the most minimum damages as much as possible.
Absolutely, I'll agree to that. Mr. Mohammed, my next question would be to you. Where do you think this impact has been felt more? Is it in the residential or the commercial? Could you elaborate on this?
First of all, thank you for the invitation. Actually, it's in both categories, to be honest. The major impact on the market of rentals, it's actually especially on the local areas. And having said that, we can say that ITC projects, similarly to Al Mouj, Muscat Bay and Muscat Hills, these are quite struggling as well. However, there has been a significant drop in rentals in both ways. You know, it's residential and commercial as well.
Absolutely. And Mr. Mohammed, when do you think this will pick up? Or rather, which segment do you think will pick up first, residential or commercial, if and when it does pick up?
Well, we are anticipating for it to be picking up again, but it will be, it will be rising again gradually, not very fast, I can say. And it will take some time, I guess, from 6 months to, let's say, a year, because there is no good signs for the rentals to pick up again, very fast. It will take so much time to recover.
Definitely. Mr. Ehsan, what do you feel about this? Mr. Ehsan, we can't hear you too well again. I am just going to ask you the question again. What do you feel about the situation, the effects on the commercial and residential properties? All right, Mr. Ehsan, we're not able to hear you too well. So, Mr. Fahad, I will just ask the same question to you. Which sector do you think will pick up first? Do you agree to what Mr. Mohammed said, that probably we'll just have to wait it out and both of them will eventually get better?
Well, honestly, in the real estate market, the market is driven by the supply and demand. So it's very difficult right now to anticipate what will pick up before the other. It all depends on what will have more demand in the next phase. As we all know, that many tenants whom from the individual, the individual tenants, not the retail, not the commercial tenants, the residential tenants, many of them have left the country. Many of them have lost their jobs. Many of them also had some impact on their monthly salaries. Therefore, that's a huge demand dropped there in the sector. And at the same time, the commercial tenants also are having difficult times right now with the non-availability of the disposal income, and also the purchasing power have been reduced. Also, we shouldn't disagree to many ideas have been coming out lately about going digital and working from home, and also having virtual meetings. So therefore, I think the supply and demand of the real estate sector in the next coming period will have to shape its way as we go through, and to anticipate that what will over succeed the other, I think it is very difficult at the moment to give any statement about that, and we'll just wait and see what the market, how the market will move in the next coming months.
Absolutely. Mr. Ehsan, my next question would be to you, what kind of measures have you taken to help clients who are faced with these difficult situations? Because I understand as difficult it is for realtors to go through this, it's also a lot of pressure on the customers. We are going to wait for Mr. Ehsan to connect back with us. Mr. Mohammed, I would like to pose that question to you. What kind of measures have you taken to help clients who are stuck in this difficult situation?
I think this is something which is actually done by the Higher Supreme Committee. They have done a good job on the deferment of some commercial rentals for the tenants.
Absolutely.
Landlords also should take easy measure like decreasing rent for example, for the tenants.
Right.
To maybe half at least, or even giving them maybe 2 to 3 months waiver if possible,
right,
till things settle down a bit for the tenants, because they are actually facing struggle, and it's a very difficult, like Fahad said, in the commercial side. So Higher Supreme Committee have given some good points and good measure to take, and it's a very clear path for this pandemic so we can recover from it actually.
Absolutely. But as a company, these are costs to you. Mr. Ehsan, do we have Mr. Ehsan? Mr. Ehsan, are you able to hear us now?
I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
All right. Mr. Fahad, as Mr. Mohammed was saying, all these are still costs to the company. How do you absorb these costs?
Well, it's a common situation where everyone is in it. It's not a situation where one party is in it and the other is not. Therefore, the way we cope is by having to cooperate with everyone in the market and all the stakeholders in the market, be it our clients, be it our tenants, be it our employees as well. Therefore, when the problem is generic and everyone is in the same sailing in the same ship, therefore we all have to excuse the other, and we all have to find ways to get into the common ground, and not to try to take things into ways where it will create more damage and more problem into the market. Therefore, I think getting together, speaking to each other, finding solutions, and trying to be as humble as possible, it's the way to get over this pandemic.
Golden words, Mr. Fahad. We're all in this together, and we should all cooperate as much as we can. Mr. Ehsan, are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear
Wonderful.
me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Good to have you on the show. Mr. Ehsan,
very good. Very good.
would you be able to tell me an instance? Of course, I understand if you, for confidentiality reasons, do not want to name the party, but can you give me an instance where you did not expect a customer or a client to default or ask for a concession and they suddenly did? How did you tackle this kind of a situation? Because this is something that even large companies who are providing accommodation and everything for their employees, even they are facing. So can you give me an instance?
What was mentioned by the sort of two esteemed sort of experts earlier, the issue here is very much looked at on a case-by-case basis. Yes, this is affecting everybody, but there are businesses that are still doing well. In fact, there are businesses who are doing even better than usual because of the pandemic, whose business either is in logistics, transportation, home delivery, who have all sort of done well in this time. there was an attempt by a number of these to kind of potentially go and ask for blanket discounts just because everybody did at the beginning. But very much from a landlord point of view, and as real estate advisors, as both as managers and lessors of property, we do advise our landlords to look specifically at each of the cases and see how somebody was impacted by COVID, and really try and manage the problem with them. Try and manage cash flows. We need to make sure that our tenants do not go under, that no one is evicted in situations where, again, it's something that can be managed or mitigated. But there are people, again, who have not been hurt by this and yet would still request that. So generally, the answer from us is rejected unless we can sort of see evidence as to how they were impacted by this.
Perfect. And as you mentioned, you need to see evidence. So what kind of, because from what I read, sometimes the landlords would ask the employee to produce a letter from the company which said that, yes, they have reduced the salaries or something like that. What kind of letters or what kind of documentation do you usually request to see?
That's typical. That's not unusual for residential. There would be something like that, which would demonstrate the tenant's inability to make the payments, and they will need to sort of reschedule the rent potentially over a longer period to make it manageable and to make them cash flow manageable. From a corporate point of view, this would relate to company accounts, where you can then see how trading has changed from Q1 to Q2. Obviously, these would not be audited yet, as this is still fresh, but at least running accounts would be available, and you can immediately see the company's cash flow, cash positions, and how trading has changed and was impacted by COVID. We've definitely seen this with, say, again, to be honest, it didn't really need looking through the accounts to see that, but particularly all businesses relating to travel, businesses relating to conferences, exhibitions, things like that, where, again, we have seen immediate pressure where it's not gone to 10%. It's essentially gone down to close to zero for the whole period.